Hello and good morning. It is Monday. That means it's time for another episode of Monday Coffee with the Doll. Welcome. How are ya? How are ya? I have my coffee and it's so yummy and I love it so much. And then I just drink it some more because it's delicious. Because it's got hazelnut. Because it's delicious. Because it's so good. Alright, I think I've probably had enough coffee for the moment. So, welcome back to another episode of Monday Coffee with the Doll. I am your hostess, Emily Zidal. Oui. Voila. It has been a very emotionally roller coastering, crazy week for me. I am happy to get into this week because it means it's a new week, it's a fresh week, and maybe I can make better things happen than I did this past week. This past week has been really interesting because it's been full of abuse for me, if you can believe that. If you can roll that over in your noggin for a minute. All the abuse. It's just been horrible. All the abuse. It's just been terrible. But, I've just been seeing it from so many different perspectives and coming from so many different directions, whether it be from a male perspective or a female perspective. The different victims, the different situations where the abuse can come from, who can be abused, and it really is just about anybody in any way possible. I don't know if you guys know, if you're new watching my channel, if you followed me for a while, you know that I come from a background of abuse from a past relationship, and mine was, of course, just from a spouse, as my ex-husband was not the best, but it's not just in those areas that I'm seeing it anymore. I'm seeing so much abuse in so many different directions. It's like, whew, I need a minute. This is a lot. Can we just calm it down, people? I need a minute. I'm dealing with my own emotionally abusive situation with my own family and with things that are going on for me, which is a lot. It's a lot to deal with when you have to deal with such aggression from your own family. And you don't ever want to believe it. You don't ever want to kind of accept that your family may not be good for you, but unfortunately abuse comes from family members. A lot of the times it comes in the form of mental or physical or verbal or sexual abuse a lot of the time. So family members can definitely bring down some pretty forceful forms of abuse, and I think that it makes it twice as hard to deal with because, you know, we're all kind of born with this emotional connection to our family, and we're like, well, you're supposed to love me and protect me and always be there for me, we're family. And when that role in your life kind of turns on you, it's really hard to deal with. And if you struggle with any type of mental health issues like depression already, then you put abuse on top of that, and you're just kind of sitting here going, oh my gosh, it's too much. I'm suffocating over here. It's too much. So it's a really difficult thing to go through. And of course, I have a lot of women who I counsel with and speak with via emails and things online all the time about abusive relationships and how to get out of it and what you should do, and just kind of sharing my experience with them. A lot of women are shocked that when they come to me, I am willing to be open. You know, I'm willing to share what I went through with you guys if it means that you can somehow learn and grow from that experience in a more positive way quicker than I did. You know, if it can get you there that much faster or help you get around a problem that much quicker or help you avoid even the smallest amount of heartbreak. You know, here's my story. This is what happened. This is how I dealt with it. This is where I'm at. So I do hear a lot about it. And, you know, I think one of the most shocking things in the abuse area that I've heard about recently is I've had several friends share with me stories of young girls, like 16, 17-year-old girls who are dealing with massively abusive boyfriends. And my own stepson's girlfriend, she shares with me stories all the time about her past boyfriends and girls that she knows and girls she went to school with. And all these stories about how these guys would just wail on these young girls when they wouldn't do what they wanted, or they kind of pushed back or argued. And it's amazing to me how at such a young age they can be so quick to just turn to that aggression and attack these young girls in such a violent way. And what's even scarier is the majority of them have been getting away with it. You know, all of the women that I've talked to, and I'm not talking about in general, I'm talking about personal stories that I have had share with me where these guys are allowed to torment and torture and stalk and harass and beat these young girls. And nobody's doing anything about it. The cops aren't doing anything about it. The school isn't doing anything about it. Everything's just smack on the hands and, well, our hands are tied this. But my question is where are all these young men learning this behavior? Where are all these young men learning that when their girlfriends don't do what they want, to just wail on them and beat them and hit them and yank them around and choke them? And like, I've heard the most crazy stories, and it blows my mind every single time that's even still a thing. Like, it's awful. It's horrible. It happens way too much. And the scary thing is that they do struggle with getting help. They struggle with getting help and having people do what they're supposed to do to kind of put in place the things that protect them as victims from these kinds of things. And nobody's really doing what they're supposed to. But it goes both ways. You know, it goes both ways. I've talked to several guy friends of mine who have come from very, very abusive relationships with their past girlfriends, and it's the same. Like, the stories, like, if the stories I heard didn't say, well, my boyfriend this or my girlfriend that, if it just said, my blank hit my blank, like, you wouldn't know the difference between whether the male was the abuser or the female was the abuser, because they're all the same, every single one of them. And it's heartbreaking how many people are going through it and how many people think that they have to go through it. And I think that's my point this week with Monday Coffee, is that if you're dealing with an abusive situation, one of the things that I want you to remember is that you don't have to deal with it. You don't have to go through it. You don't have to choose to allow somebody to treat you in such a horrific, disgusting way. You don't deserve it. Nobody deserves it. And I don't care if it's mental abuse, physical abuse, verbal abuse. Nobody deserves to be treated in such a manner. So a lot of the things that I hear is, well, I can't because this, or how will I feed my kids? Where am I going to live? I don't have a job. I know those fears because I've been there, and that was always my biggest fear, and that was always the reason I stayed for so long, is because, you know, they control you to the point where you fear anything outside of what they're giving you, because they make you solely rely on the security in them. So it can be really scary to leave those kind of situations, but you need to know that you can do it. you can live and grow and learn and succeed in life on your own with someone better, maybe with no one ever. But either way, you deserve that chance. And you should never allow common fears to hold you back from experiencing life and experiencing love and happiness. You shouldn't have to constantly be bombarded or weighed down or stressed with the things like abuse can cause. So reach out. You know, there are so many things out there to help in so many ways. And, you know, I can't even begin to tell you how many times just girls I've met online that are on my friends list, if I need help, they're there. They're there with resources. They're there with support. They're there with ideas and things that have helped them in the past. You know, reach out to people, because love and kindness from genuine human souls is probably one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. But it's definitely been a hard week for me in the just downright abuse department. It's been an abusive week this past week. It was hard to get through, but then we closed it up with Easter, and I got to enjoy Easter with my family and my beautiful little boys. So, you know, there are beautiful things in life that you can enjoy and devote your time to, and you never have to allow someone to treat you that way, because you do have a voice, and they're never allowed to take that from you. And you do need to stand up and just give it back to them, man. Stand up for yourself. Show the world that it cannot hold you back. Because once you get out here, I mean, yeah, it's a little scary. I'm not going to lie. With somebody that has struggles with anxiety, it's really hard and scary to go out into the world. But man, when you conquer that fear, and every time you go out there and you do something amazing, you feel that much more proud of yourself. I recently went to my kids' Easter parties this past week, and I struggled with it, because Easter parties at school mean there's going to be like 100 parents there, plus grandparents and aunts and uncles and other siblings, and the rooms are going to be full, and it's going to be so hot, and I'm going to be sweaty. And it's a really hard experience for me to get through, because I don't do well with crowded spaces, and I don't do well standing in rooms with people that I don't know, especially if like nobody's having a conversation, and then I feel like it's my job to make sure everybody's comfortable and everybody's having a conversation. So then I start talking, and that's never good when I start talking. So it was hard. It was scary. It was something that I really I dreaded the whole week before. I was like, their Easter parties are this week, and I'm going to have to go, and there's going to be so many people there, and what if somebody talks to me? I'm going to be so awkward. I'm not going to know what to say. I usually have way too much makeup on when I show up, so I look ridiculous. I'm like, don't judge me. I just really like highlighter. It helps me get through the day, okay? Like, it's a weird experience. I'm an awkward individual, but just remember that life does have amazing opportunities for you, and you should never allow the abuse from others to keep you from actually getting to experience how beautiful those things are. So that's what I went through this past week. I am determined to go into this week better, stronger, and ready to take on even more crap that the world throws at me. So until next time, remember, you are in control of the days that fill your week. Make them as amazing as you are. I love you, and I will see you next time.